House. Aloha. This is a great time of the meeting, and I think we all should take great pride in what we present to you today. It has been my privilege to serve the chair of the 2012-2013 Awards Committee. And on behalf of the NASBA and the members of the Awards Committee, we also want to thank you for the submission of any nominations that you've made. And we encourage you to do so in the future, because those nominations are what give us the possibility to get some of the best awardees, if you will. It is with great pleasure I'm afforded the honor of facilitating the recognition of three of NASBA's best volunteers. We have an individual that's a relentless volunteer, and I've served on many committees and many boards with him, and he's always got something to share with you, and it's usually very useful, probably always very useful. But he has a lot of passion, and he will be certainly one deserving of an award. Secondly, we have an individual who unselfishly represented a very painful experience several times at various meetings for the benefit of the other boards, having to do with the litigation of a unhappy registrant. And last but not least, we have a very classy chairlady who has established herself with prestigious appointments, making NASBA very proud. And with that, I'll go further and explain that we are going to present the recipients of the NASBA Distinguished Service Award and the William H. Van Rensselaer Public Service Award to two deserving individuals. Following the first presentation, Lorraine P. Sachs will present the recipient of the award named in her honor, after which I will return to the podium to present the recipient of the final award, the William H. Van Rensselaer Public Service Award. Established in 1999, the NASBA Distinguished Service Award recognizes individuals who have demonstrated unswerving commitment to enhancing the mission of NASBA. This year's recipient, Andrew L. Dubois, CPA, as we all know, Andy, is a retired partner of PricewaterhouseCoopers LLP. Andy has contributed more than 14 years of service to NASBA as treasurer to the NASBA Board of Directors, executive committee member, director at large, as well as committee chairman and member. Andy is widely regarded for a number of things, one of which, serving as former chair of the joint NASBA AICPA UAA Committee Task Force on CPA firm names, and member of the joint CPA firm name study group that produced the 2009 white paper on CPA firm names, and for urging the New Jersey State Board of Public Accountancy to remain involved in NASBA activities during his 2-year term as board president and also following his term on the New Jersey board. And finally, for dedicating more than 30 years to the New Jersey Society of CPAs, including a year as their president. Currently, Andy is a member of the NASBA's Nominating Committee and Uniform Accountancy Act Committee, where he chairs the committee's Firm Mobility Task Force. He is also a non-board member of the Peer Review Oversight Committee of the New Jersey State Board of Accountancy. Please join me in congratulating Andy, recipient of the 2013 NASBA Distinguished Service Award. Andy, come on up.
Andy, congratulations.
Never being one at a loss for words, those who know me. The only thing, Mike, I want to make sure, you had the right notes? Because I'm not sure I recognize that individual whose exploits you just went over. Is this coming over okay, the mic? Okay, all right, I'll accept that, and I would say most of what he said was definitely true. But on a serious note, the funny thing is, I thought, how do I lead into this? What's really in my mind as I stand up here, other than tremendous amount of pride and thanks to everybody who's made this happen. I was thinking the old, the devil made me do it. Well, that's kind of a negative thing, and that would only be if the things that I have done are bad, and from what I understand, they're probably not. They're really good, but I thought, the same type of logic, what made me do it? The organization made me do it. NASBA made me do it. Now, why am I saying that? What am I driving at? Well, myself, and I think we can honestly say this about most of us in this room, why are you here? Because you want to be here. You don't have to be here. I didn't have to be here for the last 14, 15 years of experience. I chose to be here because of the nature of this organization and what it stands for. When we all registered on Sunday, we got this nice little brochure here, NASBA Strategic Mission, Vision, Values, Objectives. What a great organization. All the things in here. These are all the reasons why I want to be here, why I have wanted to be here, and why I'm sure many of you out there can say exactly the same thing. And so you want to be here, and therefore you want to be involved, and it's relatively easy to therefore achieve results, which I believe I have achieved, and I'm very happy to be recognized for that. What we're doing is we're giving back to this great profession of ours. Profession I know that's given me what I have, and I'm sure many of you can say the same thing in this room, and enabling this profession to meet its obligations in protecting the public wherever and whenever that's appropriate in each of our 55 jurisdictions and nationwide as well, obviously. So it all started for me back in 1994 when I went to Washington as the PW, pre-merger. There were 6 firms then. When I went to Washington to assume the position of the Price Waterhouse partner on the Accountants Coalition, one of the things that the coalition started then, and still continues presently, and their representatives here today from the coalition, was to attend NASBA, the various NASBA regional and annual meetings. Back in those days, there were 4 regional meetings. Today, of course, there are 2. And it's interesting because I can't resist saying this, not just because he's here and a tremendous individual, but David Costello and I basically started our NASBA experience at the same time. Now, I would add very quickly that his level of involvement over this period of time has been somewhat more significant than mine. But he did, in fact, start at the same time. He was just coming in as the new hired executive director at that time, which very appropriately title became president shortly thereafter and continues under the great leadership of Ken Bishop today. But as a point of reference, the NASBA that I saw back in 1994 at the Swiss Hotel in North Atlanta was light years different than the NASBA of today, largely because of not only the efforts of the lead, but the efforts of a number of people over the years, the chairs, the committees, all the people that I've interfaced with. My official involvement in NASBA did not start till 5 years later. The first 5 years was getting to know NASBA and getting to respect NASBA and really developing a desire to serve NASBA, but that, of course, did not become official until I was fortunate enough to be made a member of the New Jersey State Board of Accountancy in 1999, so that's where the 15 years or so that Michael cited comes from. Ever since then, I hit the ground running. I was given the opportunity to serve. In addition to all the great things that are in here, and of course this is probably some additional things are clearly implied in here, and what a great organization. Think about it. You're sitting in a room with people from all over this great land of ours, different backgrounds, big firms, small firms, academia, industry, tremendous talent, breadth of talent. What a great experience. I don't care what you do, whether you're a member of a firm or whatever you do when you're not here. This experience has to help each and every one of us become broadened, more exposure, more experience, more ideas than we would otherwise have. And I just think that that's one of the great things about this organization. And I certainly would add to what Galen said yesterday morning, aimed at primarily the newer people here, because the older people, the people who have been around here for a while, I think understand everything that I've just said. The newer people, I would again echo what Galen said yesterday morning from up here. Get involved, jump in with both feet, and believe me, it'll be a great experience. In closing, again, NASBA made me do it, and I mean that sincerely. Yes, I worked hard at it, but it also, I was the benefit of working with great chairs, great committee leaders. I had the opportunity to lead some committees myself, fellow board members, a team effort, because there's nobody in this room, including myself, that can achieve good things on behalf of this organization by his or herself. You work in a team, you have plenty of people out there who are very, very capable to work with and very enjoyable to work with. And so, in the final analysis, this is a reward that I will never forget as long as I live, and I mean that. I consider this right at the top of everything and anything that I've achieved in this great profession over the years. And I thank everybody, the people here, those who are not here that I've worked with, and again, in an organization like this, those who have passed on, unfortunately, with whom I have worked, for giving me the opportunity to earn this award. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm very pleased to recognize Richard C. Sweeney as the recipient of the 2013 Standard of Excellence Award. Just as Ken Bishop reflected in the State Board report on his relationships and friendships during his 15 years association with NASBA, I'm also grateful for the opportunity to think about individuals who made my nearly 30 years association with NASBA so rewarding. Knowing Rick has been an important part of those recollections. It's interesting that my initial impressions mirror the ones mentioned by those who nominated Rick for this award. At the time Rick was appointed executive director of the Washington State Board of Accountancy, the board's relationship with NASBA, particularly with CPA exam services, was somewhat negative and was frequently a source of anxiety among staff. There was some comfort in knowing that others in the Washington CPA community and legislature were encountering similar issues. I remember how pleased we were when Rick came on board with what I understand was an initial charge to repair relationships and rebuild the board's reputation and stature. In the 8 years he's been with the board, Rick certainly accomplished that objective and went on to become a visible figure not only within the state but also on a national level. While he was working to improve the efficiency and operation of the board, Rick demonstrated his ability to do research, put ideas into words, and to write up his findings that served as a model for other state boards with which he generously shared his communications. Rick hasn't been afraid to take on controversial issues, and his report on his board's relevance and effectiveness has been cited by many in defending their own boards. He was a key developer of the NASBA white paper on the semi-independent board and a driver of the efforts on the State Board Relevance and Effectiveness Committee. Rick served as a member of the Executive Committee, subsequently its chair, and during that time, he also served as liaison to the Board of Directors. As a mentor, Rick showed his colleagues how to get boards' work accomplished with the support of local political forces and the state society. This unique ability has also been demonstrated in his inspiration throughout the CPA community. As a CPA, Rick has enjoyed a lifelong passion for the profession by carrying out his assignments in government, academe, private industry, and public accounting with integrity and dignity. For his outstanding achievements and significant contributions, it's my pleasure to present our Standard of Excellence Award to Rick Sweeney.
Thank you, Arlen. Appreciate it so much. Thank you. Thank you. Those of you who know me know that I'm not afraid to talk. However, I'm a little nervous about this deal. So I brought my Surface. I'm a Microsoft kind of guy. And I brought my Surface, and I will read to you a little bit here. It'll go away after a while because I can't stand that kind of stuff. You know, I just want to tell a story, and I think echo to a great extent what Andy did. I recall my first meeting, first connection with NASBA was in Anchorage after I was appointed by Governor Gregoire, but I wasn't on the payroll yet. I was going on July, and of course the regional was in June. And at that meeting, I mean, I was just a rookie ED, and this gracious lady came up to me and introduced herself very warmly, very nice. Bob Brooks is coming down the hall, scared me to death, you know. And she said to me, she said, you know, you need to get involved in NASBA, deeply involved in NASBA. And I thought, oh, okay, because I didn't even know what I was doing, actually. I was just wandering around the building. And so I paid a lot of attention to the meetings and the speakers, and didn't meet too many people, actually. But during the meeting, Lorraine Sachs kept coming up and said, how you doing? You doing okay? I said, yeah, I'm learning a lot. Then I went back home, and I will tell you, I was really nervous. I wasn't sure that I had the stuff to measure up against all the talent, the hard work, and the commitment that I had observed in this. And I didn't want to embarrass the governor. I didn't want to embarrass my board. You know, I'm a dumb kid from Idaho, you know, what's he doing up here? And I remember what I tell high school kids. I enjoy talking to high school kids, trying to convince them to be a CPA, this kind of stuff. And I tell them, you know, life is just a journey. And I've made every career mistake that any individual could make. Been knocked down 8 times, got up 9. And I guess this is another time I don't want to fail. And then I thought, well, failure, you can't fail if you don't try. So I listened again to Lorraine. I will end this story shortly, but before I do that, I would just, if you'll bear with me, give some credit to just a few of the absolute many who have just made this stage of my career so exciting. First, the Iron Lady, my wife of many years, my anchor in life, Ann Sweeney. Then, if I may, the grande dame of NASBA. Her persistence and encouragement to get me involved in this organization has made the last 8.5 years just one joyous trip. Thank you. I also, as Lorraine said, I had a charge by the governor to see if we could repair some damage that was done in society relations. And I also want to recognize personally my good friend and colleague, Rich Jones, CEO of the Washington Society of CPAs, who committed over a pitcher of beer that he and I would disagree but never be disagreeable, and he'd dance in the rain with me. He's a great person, and that worked out really well, I will tell you. Every person in this room, in my humble judgment, has made me a different person, and I so much appreciate that. The friendships, the warmth, the camaraderie, the brilliance, you know, it's kind of like Andy said, you know, if you're not the brightest candle in the room and you surround yourself with bright people, you know, the room gets pretty bright, doesn't it, Andy, huh? So everybody here, my colleagues from Canada, Richard Reese, and some other folks from Canada that I know, everybody in this room, and I want to thank all the executive directors and administrative assistants for allowing me to play this game on their home field. I am very grateful, and I only accept this recognition because of you all. Thank you very much.
You know, standing back on the stage there, I'm looking at everyone that's been up here since I was, and I feel really good. My hair is darker than any of the other three. Well, that's going to stop right now. And it's certainly our last one, and as they say, last but certainly not least. Since 1988, NASBA has presented the William H. Van Rensselaer Public Service Award to individuals who have earned recognition through their contributions to the public accounting profession, or led development or improvement of programs for boards of accountancy, or influenced the passage of rules or statutes to improve accountancy regulations and law. Our 2013 recipient is no stranger to the accounting profession at all. Diane M. Rubin, CPA, continually demonstrates her unwavering passion for advancing the profession, the mission of NASBA, and the mission of the boards of accountancy through leadership and service. From 1998 to 2007, she was an active member of the NASBA's board of directors. During this time, Diane held a variety of positions ranging from Pacific Regional Director to Director at Large to Vice Chair, and finally Chair the year of 2005-06. As board chair, she is noted for reopening consideration of administering the Uniform CPA examination internationally, and for establishing a study group to readdress the issue. From 2003 to 2007, this former chair of the California State Board of Accountancy served as a member of the Auditing Standards Board and its Auditing Issues Task Force. In 2012, the Board of Trustees of the Financial Accounting Foundation appointed Diane to the Private Company Council. In addition to this role, she also currently serves on the joint NASBA AICPA International Qualifications Appraisal Board. A retired partner with the firm Novogradic and Company, LLP, Diane has received national recognitions by both Accounting Today and NPA Magazine for being a top most influential leader in accounting. Diane's pride for the profession is evidenced not only through her work, but also through her very own words, and I quote, "We should be proud of our roles as regulators, proud of the way that we play a part in the financial guardianship of our community," unquote. Excuse me. It is with great pleasure that I present the 2013 William H. Van Rensselaer Public Service Award to Miss Diane Rubin.
I want to hug everyone here today, just starting with these three. Well, good morning, everyone. I can't believe that it feels so good standing in front of so many people. But I am deeply honored and thrilled to have been selected to receive the Van Rensselaer Public Service Award. And I want to thank Michael Daggett and the awards committee and NASBA for bestowing upon me such a prestigious honor. I also want to congratulate my fellow awardees who have earned their awards, and I am so happy for you. I think it was Confucius who said, "Find a job you love, and you'll never have to work a day in your life." And that kind of sums up how I feel about all of my years spent with NASBA, the great California State Board of Accountancy, my time with the PCC, my years with the Auditing Standards Board, and yes, every year and every busy season as a CPA and auditor. By the way, you will know that I am an accountant through and through because I always use words like sums up. And little known fact is that my first license plate was AWDIT, audit. So you know I am so proud to be a CPA, so proud to be an auditor. I truly believe that the profession of accounting is an integral facet to society, that it is beneficial to the financial welfare of the community, and I feel so lucky to be able to have the opportunity to work with all of you and be part of the protection of the public interest. Someone said that the measure of life is not its duration, but its donation. And I think that the real miracle is that the more we share, the more we have. And I have so much to be thankful for. Sorry. I am here with my beloved family, and I wouldn't be here without their love and support, and I would like to recognize them. My son, Jacob, and his fiancée, Claire Jones, my daughter, Shayna, and her significant other, Aaron Anjarami, and my sweetheart and new life partner, Lenny Eber. So there, right there. My children have literally grown up with NASBA. They have been to meetings in Virginia, Boston, Alaska, Hawaii. Who could turn down a trip to Hawaii after all? But they have literally grown up with NASBA, and my years on the board of NASBA were made even more special, but also by the love and support, endless good humor, and poems of my late husband, also known as the first dude, Asher. You have all made me incredibly happy and proud. I would thank you from the bottom of my heart, but for my friends and colleagues here at NASBA and for my loving family, my heart has no bottom. Thank you.
I was standing back there not thinking of hair color at this point, but realizing how ironic, and this might be a vote of encouragement for anybody that wants to move up into the various committees and the chairs and on this board and what have you. I ran my first run, if you will, for regional director, and I was assured I had a good chance. You know who beat me out? Diane Rubin. So there's hope. There's hope for you out there. Listen, I can't imagine a more important time of the meeting than recognizing those that have served so much, and they represent so many of you out there. So it's not to ignore you at all, but to appreciate the fact that your contributions are appreciated and ultimately will be recognized. And with that, aloha and mahalo.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike and Lorraine, and congratulations again to Andy, to Rick, and to